the #1 engine failure.
It's a nightmare scenario for airline passengers, playing out in real time, more than 30,000 feet in the air. Oxygen masks dropping from the ceiling, everyone terrified. A hole in the plane, a woman nearly sucked out.
Some of the crew couldn't hold back their horror, and some were crying as they looked out through the open window onto the engine.
There is a hole in the side of the aircraft also.
Southwest Airlines Flight 1380, carrying 144 passengers and 5 crew, left New York's LaGuardia at 10:43 a.m. this morning, headed for Dallas. At 11:04, it hit a cruising altitude of 32,000 feet. But minutes later, the left engine failed. And 1 minute later, the plane had plunged nearly 20,000 feet.
The engine exploded, and a shard from the engine shattered the glass over the exit row. There was momentary chaos.
Radar shows the track as the plane is diverted to Philadelphia. Air traffic control knows an emergency is inbound. The pilot calmly relaying the almost unbelievable details.
We've got injured passengers.
Injured passengers, okay, and is your airplane physically on fire?
No, it's not on fire, but part of it's missing. They said there was a hole and someone went out.
I'm sorry, you said there was a hole and somebody went out?
Multiple passengers tell ABC News that woman sitting in row 14 was nearly sucked out the window. She was critically injured and later died.
The window had broken and the suction, negative pressure had pulled her outside the plane partially. These 2 wonderful men, they managed to get her back inside the plane, and we lay her down and we started CPR. I think I can probably tell you that there was significant trauma to the body, significant head trauma, facial trauma.
A photo taken from inside the plane shows that chewed-up engine. Another shot reveals the busted window, debris sticking out of the edges.
Immediately there was wind was pouring through the plane.
Matt Tranchen was on board. He says he could see the crew scrambling to help the injured passenger and try to plug that hole.
You spend 20, 30 minutes thinking you're not going to make it. At this point, it's just connecting with family, friends, loved ones, various moments. It's been pretty wild. People are very shaken up.
Tranchen said he also spent that time planning for the worst, sending his pregnant wife a goodbye text.
My wife is in her 3rd trimester with our first child, so I spent a lot of my time trying to articulate what I wanted my final words to be to my unborn child.
The plane was on the ground by 11:27 a.m. Emergency crews ready on the runway. Passengers quickly evacuated down the stairs to the foam-covered tarmac. At least 7 more people suffered minor injuries.
About 3 rows behind me was where the engine blew out. Crew did a fantastic job with Southwest in keeping everybody calm and making certain that we address the situation. It was a pretty harrowing experience for sure.
The passengers on board the aircraft, in addition to the flight crew and the cabin crew, did some pretty amazing things under very difficult circumstances.
The flight crew, including the woman co-piloting the plane, getting credit for keeping their cool.
Yeah, we have a part of the aircraft missing, so we're going to need to slow down a bit.
Think about what was going on in the cockpit. The crew hears a bang. All of a sudden, there's an explosive decompression of the cabin pressure. Getting oxygen masks on, thinking about an emergency descent. They're doing this in the busiest airspace in the whole world.
From the ground, officials and passengers could all see the mangled engine. Investigators now racing to try and figure out what happened.
Engine blades aren't supposed to fail.
A preliminary audition of the cockpit voice recorder was done this evening.
A team from the NTSB is on the scene.
One of the fan blades, the number 13 fan blade, was separated and missing. This fan blade was broken right at the hub. There's evidence of metal fatigue where the blade separated.
This isn't the first time a Southwest flight has experienced engine failure.
Sounded like an 18-wheeler tire blowing, and you sort of smelling smoke.
Back in 2016, an engine exploded during a flight from New Orleans to Orlando, triggering an emergency landing in Pensacola. And while the passengers and crew walked away unharmed, the engine failure is still being investigated by the NTSB 2 years later. It's been nearly a decade since the last death on any domestic airliner because of an accident. That was in February 2009, when a Continental Express flight crashed into a suburban Buffalo home, leaving 50 dead. In today's incident, it's unclear exactly what caused the plane's left engine to explode. We're now learning the woman killed, Albuquerque banking executive Jennifer Reardon. She'd been on her way back from a business trip to New York.
This is a sad day, and our hearts go out to the family and loved ones of the deceased customer.
Southwest Airlines says it was not aware of any issues with this particular plane, which was delivered for service by Boeing back in July of 2000. Southwest CEO Gary Kelly says the airline has been in touch with Boeing and GE, which made the engine.
The airplane, in my opinion, is proven. It's very reliable.
Kelly also confirmed the plane was last inspected just 2 days ago on April 15th.
The problem is that we've had 2 incidents in less than 2 years, and the question is it a maintenance problem with Southwest? Is it a design problem with the manufacturer, or is it some new failure mode that we didn't know about that comes when the airplanes begin to get old?
For investigators, it's now a race to figure out exactly what happened and why. Reporting for Nightline, I'm Lindsay Janis in Philadelphia.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.